When the world was still young and innocence reigned over the earth, a man walked among mortals, remarkable for his unwavering integrity. Enoch was born in the 7th generation of Adam's lineage. He was a beacon of fairness against a growing shadow spreading across the world. His steps were led by divine wisdom, and his ears were always attentive to heavenly whispers. While Enoch was contemplating the magnificence of creation one day, a brilliant light burst forth from the heavens, shrouding him in a blinding glare. His eyes, once limited by mundane sights, were opened to the mysteries of the heavenly realm. He suddenly saw what was hidden from mortal eyes, the cogs of time moving relentlessly towards a grand and terrible destiny. God, the architect of the universe, unveiled to Enoch the deep and somber realities that were yet to come, a future in which divine justice would be manifested with unparalleled authority, purifying the earth of its tainted corruption. But this purging would come through fire and storm, an unforgiving judgment that would shake the world to its very foundations. In awe, Enoch heard the divine words echoing in his soul. Everyone will be filled with fear when the great and holy one comes down to pass judgment on all. The message was not for him, nor for his contemporaries, but rather for a far-off generation, people who would dwell on earth in times of great tribulation. He then became the keeper of a dreadful secret, the herald of an unrelenting future. The weight of this divine revelation fell on his shoulders, while the shadow of the coming trial loomed over his days. He knew that the world was moving towards a cataclysm, and that divine justice, although belated, would be ruthless. Enoch drew attention to the magnificent order of creation, a silent testimony to God's glory and justice, to prepare humanity for the inevitable. "Look to the heavens," he cried, "and contemplate the eternal dance of the stars. They travel their heavenly orbits with unfailing accuracy, never veering from their Creator's path. Behold the majestic splendor of the sun rising and setting each day, stamping the rhythm of life with unalterable steadfastness. Behold the moon in its rising and waning phases, a silent light and shadow ballet that shapes the tides and brightens the night. Everything in nature reverently and harmoniously obeys divine laws. The seasons follow one another within a perpetual cycle. Spring with its fluttering awakening of life, summer with its bountifulness and warmth, autumn with its wistful beauty and harvest, and winter with its silent slumber and promise of renewal. The rivers ceaselessly flow into the sea, sculpting valleys and nourishing the earth. Vast and powerful, the seas rise and fall under the wind's breath, abiding by the Creator's limits." With sorrow in his voice, Enoch drew a contrast between the obedience of nature and the defiance of humanity. But mankind forgot the Creator and lost itself in its own selfish cravings. They have forsaken the paths of righteousness, breached divine laws, and spread dissent in creation. They are not abiding in their purpose and have turned aside into devious paths, tainting the world's purity with their unholy deeds. The faithfulness of nature, a mirror of divine perfection, was a painful reminder of humanity's downfall. Humans who had been crowned as kings of creation became the architects of their own ruination, choosing shadow over light, disarray over harmony. The forthcoming judgment would be the inescapable consequence of this tragic choice. With a heart weighed down by the vision of the future, Enoch cautioned humanity about the inescapable consequences of disobedience. Those rebelling against the Almighty will never find true peace. Disobedience is like a poison corroding the soul, opening an unbridgeable rift between man and his Creator. Inner harmony fades away, leading to anguish, fear, and uncertainty. Once a quiet refuge, spiritual peace is transformed into an arid and tormented desert. Those who spurn God's ways attract the divine curse upon themselves. Their days will be fraught with sorrow and suffering, and their years will be shortened by pain and woe. The Lord's hand will be turned against them, and destruction will descend upon their lives like a merciless storm. Their names will be wiped from the book of life, and their memory will be buried in the mists of time, forever blighted by their rebellion. However, a glimmer of hope shone through the prophetic gloom for those who remained faithful. The Lord's mercy spreads like a protective mantle over the righteous. He will guide them with His powerful hand, shielding them from storms and leading them along peaceful and righteous paths. God will make an everlasting covenant with them, blessing their lives with prosperity, health, and joy. The righteous, even during tribulation, will find refuge in their faith, and the promise of salvation will sustain them until the end of time. Enoch's words reverberated through the generations as a prophet of God's justice and mercy. While the looming shadow of judgment hung over the world, the light of hope still sparkled on the horizon for those who sought God with earnestness, humility, and devotion. As ever, the choice was up to mankind: embrace the light and find peace, or lose themselves in darkness and meet destruction. The prophetically weighty words of Enoch reverberated with the power of a thunderclap through the valleys of history. Although his message was addressed to a distant generation, it was timeless, offering a profound reflection on human nature, the world's destiny, and the power of personal choices. The sight of the cosmic order, with its beauty and harmony, unveiled the signature of the Creator, a God endowed with infinite power and wisdom. Nature's allegiance to divine laws laid bare the master plan guiding the universe. A cosmic symphony, in which each element carried out its role with perfection and obedience. On the other hand, humanity's lawlessness, its pursuit of power and selfish pleasure, sullied the purity of creation, ushering in discord, violence, and chaos. Enoch's foretelling of an impending judgment was not an act of divine vengeance, but the inevitable consequence of disrupting natural order. Like a rushing river, God's justice would follow its course, cleansing the earth of corruption and restoring the broken balance. But this purification would be a painful journey. But Enoch's message was not hopeless. The promise of salvation for the righteous, those who opted to follow God's ways, shone like a beacon against the storm. Divine mercy was offered to all who repented of their mistakes and sought reconciliation with the Creator. Overall, Enoch's visions amounted to a call to responsibility. Faced with the enormity of creation and the looming doomsday, each individual had the power to choose their fate: the decision to embrace righteousness and dutifulness, or to yield to the lure of selfishness and rebellion, was to determine humanity's future. However, as Enoch preached the message of repentance and hope, a new and terrible shadow drew near, menacing to plunge the world into a dark abyss. A quiet rebellion was breaking out in the heavenly realms, where God's glory was shining in undreamed-of splendor. The Watchers, angels possessing great power and wisdom, were seduced by darkness, deserting their light duties to pander to the flesh's forbidden cravings.